X-Men First Class. This film was released in 2011. It was a prequel. It was the first event of X-Men, and it was awesome. The characters, the effects, and the scenes were awesome. And speaking about awesome, let's start with the new characters and associate superpowers. The heroes of X-Men are Armando Manos, known as Darwin. He uses reactive evolution, but in the movie, he uses gills in the underwater and his armor plating. Alex Summers, known as Havoc, uses energy blasting out of his chest. And the last one is Sean Cassidy, known as Banshee. He uses flight and sonic screams. Now it's time to introduce the villains known as the Hellfire Club. The first villain is Azazel. He uses teleportation and superhuman agility, and he's a red devil. Angel Salvador, known as Angel, uses insect flight and acid spit. Janos Quested, known as Riptide, uses whirlwind with his hands and spinning his body at great speed. Emma Frost uses her power to turn her skin into diamonds. And the leader of Hellfire Club is Sebastian Shaw, who uses absorbent energy to avoid injury, add to his physical parameters, and you've guessed it, he tries to take over the world. Sebastian Shaw was played by Kevin Bacon. Sorry about the puns. Anyways, let's begin the story, and warning, spoilers. In 1944 in Poland, during World War II, a 13-year-old named Erich Lyncher is separated from his parents at a concentration camp. He wanted his parents to come back, but the Nazi soldiers grabbed him, and he used his magnetic force to open the gate. It's kind of like the first scene of X-Men first movie, you know. Anyway, meanwhile, at the mansion in Westchester Country, New York, a young boy named Charles Xavier meets a young girl who shapeshifts as Raven Darkholme. So he invites her to stay with his family as a foster sister. A Nazi scientist, Dr. Klaus Schmidt, known as Sebastian Shaw, brings Erich Lyncher to his office. He wants him to magnetize a coin, but too late. Sebastian Shaw killed his mother. Erich Lyncher got really angry and uses his powerful magnetize. He killed 2 guards and destroyed the room. In Switzerland in 1962, Erich Lyncher, played by Michael Fassbender, has to find Sebastian Shaw to get revenge. Meanwhile, in Oxford University, England, Charles Xavier, played by James McAvoy, graduated with a thesis about mutation. He's with Raven, played by Jennifer Lawrence, and gosh, she's pretty and hot. Meanwhile, in Las Vegas, a CIA officer named Maria McTaggart followed U.S. Army Colonel Hendry into the Hellfire Club. Maria was spying on Colonel Hendry and Sebastian Shaw. Azazel was there, grabs Colonel Hendry, and teleports to join World War. Colonel Hendry activates deployment of nuclear missiles in Turkey. Meanwhile, in Viva Gesell Argentina, Magneto has to find Sebastian Shaw, and he kills 3 Nazi soldiers. Maria McTaggart meets Charles Xavier, and she needs help. Meanwhile, in Miami, Florida, Colonel Hendry used a grenade to kill Sebastian Shaw, but he using absorbing energy, and he kills Colonel Hendry. That night, Erich Lyncher was there, and he found Sebastian Shaw. He was ready to kill him for revenge, but he is under attack by Emma Frost. The U.S. Coast Guard was there to make the arrest. The Hellfire Club and Riptide uses whirlwind to blow 3 lifeboats away. Erich Lyncher magnetized the anchor, and he's going to destroy the boat. The Hellfire Club are in a submarine and escapes from Erich Lyncher. He magnetized the submarine, but Charles Xavier stops him and let the submarine go. The next day in covert CIA research base, or Charles Xavier named a place called Division X. He and his friends met a guy named Dr. Hank McCoy. He shows them that he had prehensile feet and superhuman speed and agility. The next day, Charles Xavier uses McCoy's mutant location device Cerebro to find mutants and join the team. Charles Xavier found a stripper, Angel Salvador, Cable Armando Manos, Army Prisoner Alex Summers, and Sean Cassidy, and they join the team. Ladies and gentlemen, here's one of my favorite scenes in this movie was Charles and Eric goes into the bar, speaks to Wolverine, and asks them to join the team. But Wolverine rudely declines, and two of them leave. Two things. First, I'm not going to curse and swear in this video because it's very inappropriate. And two, Hugh Jackman was the best actor that he played Wolverine I ever had. He's awesome, he's cool, and he's tough. Way to go, Hugh Jackman. I'm proud of you. So anyway, back to the story. Meanwhile, at Division X, the team made up their nicknames like Raven Darkholme, known as Mystique, Amanda Manos, known as Darwin, Angel Salvador, known as Angel, Sean Cassidy, known as Banshee, Alex Summers, known as Havoc, Charles Xavier, known as Professor X, and Eric Lehnsherr, known as Magneto. Cool names, guys! Later at Russian military retreat, Professor X, Magneto, and the soldiers are inside the truck. The Russian guards are checking the truck, but it's not there because Professor X using mind powers to make himself invisible. Professor X and Magneto are spying on Emma Frost, whom is Soviet general. Magneto magnetizes the wire fence to hold the Russian soldiers and magnetizes the metal guns and hits them. The boys capture Emma Frost, and Professor X, reading her mind, and finds that Sebastian Shaw intends to start World War III and trigger mutants because, you guessed it, he tries to take over the world. So the boys take her to the CIA. Meanwhile, at Division X, Azazel grabs the security guards, teleports to the top of the sky, and drops to the ground. Azazel fights and kills the soldiers with two swords. Riptide uses a giant whirlwind and destroys a Cerebro. The US soldiers fire Sebastian Shaw, but he's using absorbing energy, steps on the floor, and he destroyed the soldiers. Sebastian Shaw wears his awesome helmet, wants someone to join the Hellfire Club team, Angel joins the team, and Darwin and Havoc has a plan. Havoc using energy blast to kill Sebastian Shaw, but he's using absorbing energy for Darwin's mouth, and he kills him. Later in Moscow, Russia, Sebastian Shaw tells the general to put USSR missiles in Cuba. USA and USSR are having a battleship war in Cuba. Later, Professor X and his friends were there at his mansion, referred to as X-Mansion, as Westchester Country, New York, and stays there for a while. Professor X was helping Havoc to shoot those bad guys with his energy blast out of his chest. Dr. Hank McCoy to run, Banshee learned to fly with his wings and supersonic scream, and Magneto to use the mighty magnetic force. I mean, this scene was awesome. That night, Dr. Hank McCoy used a cure needle on his prehensile feet to turn back to human feet, but suddenly he transformed into a blue furred beast. Oh, I get it. It's kind of like Mystique is Beauty and Dr. Hank McCoy is the Beast, so Beauty and a Beast. But I know X-Men was Fox Entertainment show called, and Beauty and the Beast was Disney. But did you know that two X-Men characters was Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver in the Avengers Age of Ultron? Sounds exciting. So anyways, the next day, the Team X-Men are ready for a shout-out to stop the war in the Hellfire Club in Cuba. The X-Men are in the X-Jet and arrive at Cuba. Magneto magnetized the submarine and crash land on the island. But the X-Jet got crash landing by Riptide Whirlwind. The Hellfire Club and X-Men are ready to fight. The Beast was fighting Azazel. Banshee and Havoc was fighting Angel. And Magneto's in his submarine and found Sebastian Shaw. And he was so stronger than Magneto. But Magneto magnetized the wires, grabbed Sebastian Shaw's helmet. He wears the helmet that blocked Professor X's mental abilities. He magnetized the Nazi coin slowly through Sebastian Shaw's brain all the way, and he killed him for revenge because he killed his mother. The USA and USSR battleships fire the missiles at the mutants, but Magneto magnetized them, turns them around, and pushes the missiles to the battleships. Professor X has to stop Magneto from destroying the battleships from missiles, and Maria McTaggart shot Magneto's helmet from the gun. She keeps shooting at him, but he magnetized the bullets away, and he caused a bullet to accidentally hit Professor X in the spine. That's what happens to the beginning. The missiles fall into the ocean and the battleships were safe. Mystique, Angel, Riptide, and Azazel joins with Magneto as they are the Brotherhood of Mutants. A few moments later at X Mansion, Professor X was in a wheelchair and he opened a new school for mutants. I feel confused about Professor X's wheelchair. In X-Men 3, he doesn't have a wheelchair in the beginning of Flashback. Maybe he was healed up, and that makes sense. In Days of Future Past, he doesn't have a wheelchair, but he's in a wheelchair. That makes sense. And in the Origins Wolverine, he doesn't have a wheelchair. That doesn't make any sense, but why? X-Men Origins Wolverine sucks. Meanwhile, at CIA, Magneto rescues Emma Frost from the jail cellar and she joins the team. What will happen next? Two things. First, you've guessed it, Magneto tries to take over the world. And second, wait for the next sequel called Days of Future Past. So that's my review of X-Men First Class. This film was awesome. And that's it for X-Men for this season. I hope you'll enjoy. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your support. And X-Men will come back in 2 years. Why? 3 reasons. First, too much stress and hard work and I need to relax. Second, I need to focus on my work at college. And third, I'm waiting for more X-Men films to be produced. If there's another one, I'll review the next X-Men films. So I hope you had a great summer and see you guys later.